I'm wondering if you are giving away your power by waiting for others to change so that you can be happy. Um, Thank you, Elizabeth, Rachel, for saying that. I forgot to change to turn on my microphone. See, best laid plans. So, if you are waiting for others to change so that you can be happy, then you're creating bigger problems for yourself. So, my name is Beck Nelson. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a psychic medium and spiritual mentor. And I was just realizing the other day that I graduated when I was 30 with my master's degree in marriage and family therapy and human development 25 years ago. And yes, I'm dating myself. One of the things that I learned back then that has stuck with me is that one of the reasons that people come to me for help, and this is, I've found this over and over again, is because people's solutions, intended solutions to their problems, actually make things worse. Thank you, Rachel. You can hear me now. So, um, over time, I have seen this happen repeatedly. And let me give you an example of this to put it into context so that you can see what I mean. If anybody here has some examples of this and can relate to this, I would love to hear your examples. But what an example of this is, let's say people come to me because they are having trouble sleeping. They wake up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to sleep. And the first thing I ask them is, what are you doing? What do you do when you wake up and when you can't go back to sleep? What have you tried? Well, my grandmother used to say to heat up hot milk, so I'd try hot milk. Or I get up and I start doing some jumping jacks. Or I get up and I go watch TV because maybe I'm thinking that'll make me tired, or I read. I'm thinking it'll make me tired, but also I don't want to wake up my partner, so I get up and read for a little bit. What do you think that that's actually doing? You're disrupting your sleep cycles, and what you're actually doing is making yourself more awake. So you're not solving your problem, you're actually making your problem worse. So that's just an example of that. But if you could share, even if you're watching the replay, share in the comments how you believe that your intended solutions are making things worse. So this is actually the basis of my life's work, really, and the basis of my book, Cut the Shit, Reframe Your Thinking, Regain Your Life. So what happens is the biggest thing that I've seen, the biggest solution that I've seen that people do is that they try to ask other people to change to make them happy. And this is, I've seen this play out over and over again. So what's happening is people will say, I'll be happier when my husband starts dot dot dot. I'll be happier when my kids, or I'll be happier when my mom, blah blah blah, my boss. But what they don't say is, this is what I would need to do differently in order for things to change. So what's happening is, let's say that this is your power, you're handing the power for your happiness, that power over to someone else. You're actually giving other people the power to make you happy. But what happens is, this doesn't work because, one, other people, first of all, are not going to change. You're waiting for somebody else to do something differently. So you're giving that power away. It's likely that other people are not going to change. And what's actually going to happen is, you're going to reduce your circle. People are going to be pissed off because, do you want to be around somebody else that's constantly telling you how much you're not doing, how much you're disappointing them? Who wants to be around that? So what's happening is, you're actually pushing other people away and handing your power to be happy, over to somebody else. So thank you, Rachel. So what I found is that when people start to take responsibility for their own happiness, then they start to see shifts in their life. And one of the first ways that we can do that is to find gratitude for other people. So what I have found is, what I hear a lot from people is, can you believe it? The other people are saying things to me like, well, you don't thank me because I made dinner tonight, right? This actually came from a session that I had recently. And why should I thank him or her or whatever for making dinner tonight? Like, nobody thanks me when I make dinner. So this is the wrong way to think. If you can shift that around and say, you know what, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, thanks for making dinner tonight. And what you'll actually find is, you would hope, is that other people are going to want to give you what you're giving them. Or, you know what, that's not even the real important part. Is, if you are filled with gratitude, that is the energy you're going to put out into the world. So what's wrong with saying to somebody, Thanks for making dinner tonight. You know what? I didn't have to do it. That was awesome. Thank you. It took me 5 seconds. So, what is the problem with saying that? Instead of having the attitude of why should I have to, say, I'm honored to do so. I really want to do that. And what people are finding is that they're actually getting that energy back in their lives. So, this is just a small piece of what we talk about the ways for you to bring abundance back to yourself and find happiness in your life again. And another example of this that I have found in my work recently is I'm working with a client who is pissed off. She has this narrative in her life that everybody is a jackass and is loving, caring, does not give back the energy and attention that she puts into her relationships. So she continuously goes into relationships where people don't give her what she's putting out. And this gives her a reason to be pissed off. Now, let me tell you, everybody, what happens when you're pissed off all the time is that anger and energy stores inside your body as pain. So let's talk about that for 1 second. I'm telling you that if you give yourself permission to constantly be angry because other people are not changing to give you back the energy that you're putting into them, and you're always angry, you are going to experience, this is going to store as pain in your physical body. And I actually have a client who was consistently going to doctors. I have several actually, particularly in the neck area. They would go to, they'd spend money on massage therapists and specialized forms of therapy and physical therapists to get the pain worked on in their neck, which also, by the way, causes chronic headaches. So pain is often the outcome of holding on to anger. Okay, so what I'm telling you is you're expecting other people to change. You're pushing them away because you're constantly telling them how much they're disappointing you, which nobody wants to be around. I know I don't. And I'm guilty of this too. This is something I had to look at for myself. I'm also storing things as pain in my body, that anger. And I'm also giving away my very important power. So if you have not followed the link yet and signed up for my group, which is starting next week, we have a 4-week workshop. The 4 weeks is 4 1-hour sessions. They're on Thursday evening starting on January 30th. They are from 7 to 8 o'clock. They're for an hour. That's Eastern Standard Time. We are doing a Zoom workout. Now, every time I have run this group, I have found that everybody who signs up for the group is somebody who fits in perfectly. Everybody who's in that group has exactly the same issues. And this is not by chance, people. This is the energy that needs to come together for this to be a blessing for everybody. And everybody shares. Everybody is willing to be a little bit vulnerable for the purpose of growth, because growth always happens with some discomfort, and they are so glad that they did. So if you've been thinking about coming into this group, that probably means that it's the energy of what you need right now in your life. And come talk about how you've sabotaged yourself and given away your power, and maybe even experienced some physical symptoms along the way as a result. So please join us for $97 for 4 weeks. We are starting next week, and I'm going to be putting the comments the way to join us. And thank you very much for joining me, Rachel. She is one of my besties, my spiritual besties, and I love supporting everybody else in my community. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you starting next week.